Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elistar Velgaros, and welcome back to more Satisfactory. It's dark outside, and we got a nice little nighttime view of the factory for once. Figured I'd change it up a little bit, give you guys a different perspective on the game. But your perspective is going to be changed drastically in this episode because we have completed Phase 2 of Satisfactory, and we have officially moved on to Phase 3, which is now going to introduce a lot more things and a lot more complications to the game. We also expanded our power infrastructure last time, where I made a slight error in the judgment of the coal power plant. I actually had to go back there and fix it to where now we have a steady 1800 megawatts of power to play around with, which we're going to need it because today we are embarking on our journey to start dipping our toes into the realm of Phase 3 oil production. Let me get that freaking bald eagle screech, because America has entered the game, folks. Where there's oil, there's exploitation to take place. So let's get started, shall we? Where do we even begin when it comes to Phase 3? Well, things need to change. A lot of things need to change, as a matter of fact. The biggest thing about Phase 3 is that you're going to be doing a lot of exploring when it comes to Phase 3. And we are no different. We need to actually branch out and explore. But first, we need to unlock oil processing. Crude oil, refineries, oil extractors, rubber, plastic, circuit boards, polymer resin, petroleum coke, and fuel. Let's get started. 50 motors, 100 case industrial beams. We need 500 steel pipes and 500 copper sheets. So, we got, what is that, 300 right there? Where else am I using steel pipes? Right over here, as a matter of fact. Yoink. And you know what? Let's break this. Oh, it would help if I had it, facing the proper way. There we go. There we go, just so we can actually have a stockpile of steel pipes here. And then I guess we can also go ahead and throw down another bin right here. So that way we can hopefully start getting a small stockpile of the beans. I know I have storage over at the actual steel plant for all of this stuff, but it's just better to have everything here. Here we go. Oil processing has begun.
Milestone reached. Crude oil can now be extracted and refined to produce various industrially beneficial parts. The byproducts of these processes will require careful management, but a capable pioneer such as yourself surely understands that. To improve efficiency, pipelines can now be optimized with valves to limit and balance their throughput. These were initially left out because Fixit did not want to overwhelm pioneers with complex pipeline management. They have since been re-added after my impassioned defense of your capabilities.
Of course, Ada, thank you very much. You are oh so kind. All right, so now we have oil to deal with. So the thing about oil is oil produces byproducts. So you would make one thing, but you would get something out of it in return. It's a little weird. These things, the refineries, get used to seeing these machines because, oh boy, are we going to be using them a lot. So, the biggest thing about oil, plastic, rubber, and fuel. We also have petroleum coke, which we can use. We might be using later on. But plastic and rubber are the two major goals right now, with fuel being a little side thing that we're going to do. Now, here's the thing. Despite being a desert, there is no oil anywhere in this desert. Which is quite disappointing. The only sources of oil are on the other side of that mountain and about 1,600 meters that way. And that is where we are going to go. Not across the mountain. No, no, no. I have something planned for that, for those oil reserves over there. But we're going to head over to the other oil nodes that are just on the edge over here. So, of course, we're going to bring some of our infrastructure over. Because I would like to have something to go over to the Caterium that we're making over here. And so that way we can bring back some of the rubber, the plastic, I fell off, and eventually the fuel that we're going to be making. So, let's bring over our platforms here. I'm going to get a ladder right here. So that way I can get back up. Only to eventually fall off again, probably. Alright, and what we're aiming for... the Caterium factory, that's right there. We can just very easily bring that out over here and back towards the base. But what we're aiming for is to go through this little corner right over here. Again, anything that I do in this series, you guys don't have to follow one for one. This is just how I play the game. Everybody who plays this game will always, oh shit. You will always have a different experience from what I'm doing in the game. This is just how I play the game. You guys can go about any biome that you desire, any different which way that you want to go, but you know, this is how I play the game. And your decisions are all your own. You don't have to follow me one for one. This is just to give you guys an ideal, my personal ideal method of playing the game. All right, we finally made it. I had to go back and go get some more materials because I ran out of concrete and iron plates, which sucked. But I also had to go back anyway and bring over some power. But here we are, 4 beautiful little oil nodes right here. And, of course, some locals that need to be taken care of. Sorry. Pigu? No. Bad Pigu. Behave. So, if I'm not mistaken, we have 2 impure nodes. That one was impure, this one's normal, this one's normal, and this one is impure. Yeah. Okay. So let's get our oil extractors down. Of course, we want them lined up with the world grid. Boom. This one we're gonna have to face towards the north. Like that. Let's see, flip this guy around. Like that. And then, like that. Okay. Next thing is we need to go actually extract the oil. So let me grab a couple of platforms. Well, these two are normal here. I think the only thing I'm going to have to do is come out towards this guy. And actually just bring the oil out this way. Okay, so we got 60 from the impures. That means 120 from each of the pures, or the normals, I should say. All right, and another 60. Okay, cool. When it comes to doing things like oil production and everything, dealing with the byproducts of oil can be a little confusing sometimes. And if you guys have been around my channel enough, you guys know me. I really like using what the game provides to you and abusing it. So, one thing that I do like to do is I like setting visual representations of projects that I'm working on. Whether it would be through, you know, signs on a wall or actual, like, buildings in a separate world. But we're going to start small before we get into the larger diagrams and everything like that. We're going to start small, and we're going to start with just getting everything hooked up first. Boom, boom, and whoops, nope, not there. Boom, and you go there. Haha. All right. So let us start off. Okay. Yeah. Let's at least start off with the 120 oil that we have available. And then we'll worry about the rest of it. So of course, oil needs pipes in order to move. It is a liquid. A lot of, or all of the liquids and then some other things in this game use pipes. One thing that you guys are going to also learn, I hate liquids in this game. They are so weird. They are so weird. I'm not a huge fan of them. But you got to get used to it because they are very, very essential. All right. So let's get started. This is honestly just a gripe that I have. I like to have my pipes straight and moving at proper angles. So let's start off with this one right here. This pipe has 120 oil per minute in it. We can expand this out a little bit. Perfect. Of course, the most important item is the refinery. These things are used in all oil production and such. So we're going to use the refineries to deal with the oil. Each of the refineries, depending on which one you use. Let's start off with plastic. Sure. 30 oil per minute. 120 divided by 30 is, of course, 4. So we can place down 4 of these guys if I had the steel pipes on me. Shit. What else am I going to need? So that way I don't have to come back here, go back a second time. More motors, more encased industrial beams, and steel pipes. Okay. Actually, you know what we're going to do? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a hypertube network to bring us back here. So, I need more steel pipes. Son of a bitch. Alright, well, zip lines are also cool, I guess. We are going to set up a hypertube to come back here, though. Don't worry. Because making this journey is quite a nuisance. Alright, let's head back and we'll get started with the hypertubes. Alright, while we're back here, let's actually go and see what else we can do. Petroleum power. Oh no, we need rubber and plastic before we can do that. The jetpack, however, we don't. Haha. So you know what? Let me go grab some cable and some more iron plates. And we can get that boy unlocked. Alright. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Dump those. Then run over this way. Move. Then grab 2, 4, 6, 8. And launch the jetpack.
Milestone reached. Fixit has granted you the power of flight, provided you have a jetpack and the appropriate fuels. The jetpack refuels automatically while you are standing on a surface, and different fuel types will affect the jetpack's functionality. With this increased versatility, you will no doubt achieve efficiency levels previously unheard of.
Alright. So now we have the ability to craft the jetpack in the equipment workshop. It's a very, very, very useful tool. I cannot stress how utterly amazing the jetpack is. Is the one thing that I would always, always, always recommend people going and rushing when you get to oil production. Alright, so yes, of course, we don't have any fuel for the jetpack. You can use a lot of different fuel types. You can use solid biofuel, you can use regular fuel, turbo fuel, and all the different types of fuels that are in the game. But we're not going to be using our... Actually, you know what? Why not? We could use it just so I could show you guys that, yep, it's just a pitter-patter. And it'll be super helpful to have, you know, while we're working on stuff. So that's going to stay in my inventory for right now. But anyway, as I was mentioning, we're going to build a hypertube. And I think we're going to go ahead and put it right here. Let's get a hypertube entrance right here. And connect that with that. Where did that just go? Nope, come here. Delete that. Come over here, grab that, and connect that there. Then, let's grab an actual hypertube. Then, we ride. We just keep on keeping on. And we gotta go all the way back. Okay, unfortunately, the hypertubes use materials that we also need for oil production. So I'm gonna have to cut the hypertube a little short here, and then just have it like send us off into space for a second here. So that way we can use our little jetpack here to just pitter-patter our way back over to the oil plant. Our little temporary oil manufacturing plant here. But anyway, let's continue what we were doing on over here. What's going on over this way? So we can go ahead, do this, and split this into all of the refineries. Then we can do the exact same thing after I move power lines. There we go. So let's hook up that, give these guys some power, and get started. So, the plastic is made using the crude oil. It's not a whole lot, it's only 20 per minute, which kind of sucks. But, as you can see, we also have a secondary thing. Heavy oil residue, a byproduct, is what this is called. And if we expand this a little bit more, and we bring over this oil, we're going to set this to make rubber. Oh, hold on. Rubber. So yes, same exact thing. Using 30 oil. And we just hook this up real quick. Boom, boom, and boom. Just like that. Let me come over here, grab the power, then hook these guys up. You can see our graph ain't looking too good right now. Yeah, these things use a lot of power. 30 megawatts to be precise. We got 8 of them going already. These things are expensive. But, hey, nope. You're supposed to be making rubber. Yep, you guys are supposed to be making rubber. No plastic. Rubber. Alright. So, we got 2, 4, 6... 80 rubber per, or 80 plastic per minute being made. And then we have 2, 4, 6, 80 rubber per minute being made. But we still have that byproduct we gotta use. And of course, Fix-It does not waste. So, if we let that heavy oil residue build up, the machines are going to stop, and it's going to prevent us from making any more rubber and plastic. How do we solve this? Very simple. First of all, we calculate how much heavy oil residue we're making. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. Now that we know that number, we just have to figure out what to do with it. 120 oil residue per minute. Very interesting. Well, I can tell you what we're going to do with it, but that would spoil all the fun. We're going to condense everything, first of all, by adding it to a singular pipeline that we can keep track of. And you can see it turns a nice shade of magenta. Now we have our heavy oil residue. I usually like to put buffers on as well. This is just a thing that I do. Just in case if you have like a shutdown, you have at least something going on. You don't need to do it. Once again, just another thing that I like to do. As a precaution. So, what can we do with heavy oil residue? Because we got a lot of it building up real quick. If you go into your search bar and you type in heavy oil residue, it'll show you everything that you can do with it. We can throw it into a refinery to make petroleum coke, or we can make it into fuel. Fortunately, I'm going to need more steel pipes in order to do that. So let's take our new hypertube right up here and go see if I can find some more steel pipes, because yeah, I need a lot of them. All right, after a quick pit stop of some materials, let's deal with this residual stuff, why don't we? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna plop down a couple more refineries here. We're gonna change what they make, and we're gonna turn it into residual fuel. As you can see, it takes 60 heavy oil residue to produce 40 fuel, which is perfect for the amounts of residual fuel, or the residual heavy oil residue, not residual stuff, heavy oil residue that we're making. So all we got to do is just hook this up. Draw some more power. And that takes care of all the heavy oil residue. But now, you may ask, what do we do with all of the fuel that we're making? Well, we're making 80 fuel per minute, which isn't bad. No, it's a subsizable amount of fuel. And what are we going to do with it all? Good question. Well, we're going to turn it into power, is what we're going to do. So, we unfortunately don't have the technology at the moment because we needed rubber and plastic. So, let's take some of this with us. Head back. We gotta unlock some stuff. Alright. What can we unlock? What can we unlock? Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna unlock. This. Petroleum power is what we're going to unlock. Need 100 of these, 100 of those, 200 of these, and 200 of those. Here we go.
Milestone reached. It is my honor and privilege to inform you that the fuel-powered generator, as well as the industrial fluid buffer, are now available. Due to a lack of gold in your sector, Caterium will serve as a suitable replacement to construct the fuel-powered generator. Your research into this element was valuable. In fact, you in particular are my most valuable pioneer, but don't tell the others I said that, it would be bad for morale.
Alright, so, yes, we now have the industrial fluid buffer over here. That is much, much bigger than the fluid buffers that we were using previously. I mean, you got the little boy, and then the big boy. They're pretty big. I like them. But most importantly, we have this. The fuel-powered generator. Get used to seeing these things because, oh boy, do I have a project that revolves around these guys. Alright, so now we have to do some more math. And yes, these guys are very, very big. So big, as a matter of fact, we're probably going to have to find a different spot to put them down. So, fuel burn rate 20 per minute. We're making 80 of them. We're making 80 fuel per minute. So we need to set down 4 of these things in order to burn all of the fuel that we're making. But we're not exactly going to be using all of the fuel per se. Not all of it. But we are going to be using most of it. Whee! Okay, so yes, the fuel power generators are very big. We don't have the room to put them all down here, so oh,
The fruit of this fungus-like flora does not seem to show much potential for use. However, its mycelial network is worth further investigation. Research it in the MAM to establish classification and potential application.
I forgot the trees in this biome give off mycelium. Okay, so fuel power plants. Fuel power generators, I should say. Adjust them as they are. We need 1, 2, 3. That seems about right. Let's get our fuel hooked up. And then apply it to our stuff here. Nice. Look at that. Now we have a lot more fuel. That spike brings us up to 2,550. But there's still one more problem. Like I mentioned before, we're making 80 fuel per minute. This is only taking 60 of our fuel. So that means in this pipe... Oh no, I don't have any crystals. Aw, damn it. There's still 20 fuel per minute in this pipe that we need to get rid of. So, what are we going to do about that? Well, I already have a plan. We're going to grab a couple more stacks of rubber and plastic. And we got to go make another trip while we wait for the pod to return. All right. Now, what we're going to be doing is unlocking this fluid packaging. Select milestone. Give that. I'm going to need some more steel beams. Let's see here. All my steel beams are being used in process of the versatile framework. I'm gonna just yoink those real quick. And I think we're gonna need some more copper sheets as well. Yeah. Oh yeah. Grab a few more of those. Ooh, that'll work. And dump that in there. Boop. There we go. Packaging.
Milestone reached. Avoid the embarrassment of placing liquids in your pockets only for them to spread across your suit. Package and unpackage them with the packager. Packaging fluids allows them to be transported in your inventory, on conveyor belts, and by vehicles. For increased, non-pocket related fluid storage, you can now use the industrial fluid buffer.
All right. So the plan is we're going to be making packaged fuel. This right here. We need... Oh. It uses a little bit more than I expected it to. We're going to have to completely destroy one of our fuel generators. Well then. We're going to have to go deal with that. Okay. So, let's see here. Yeah, each of these are making quite a lot of fuel. So, we can get rid of this one. This guy here is burning the other 40, which is good. But I want to package my fuel, thank you. So to do that, of course, we got to set up a packager, hook it up with the fuel, and then what? Well, we need containers. And we need empty canisters, which are made by using plastic. Plastic? Uh-oh. Well, you know what that means. Time to get a constructor. Time to get a constructor out. Hook up a little thingy right there. Little bit of that. It takes 30 plastic? No, 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 no. We ain't doing that. We only need 40 canisters per minute. So, let's bump this down. 20. Okay, that's reasonable. That is reasonable. We're gonna do that. Let's bring a little conveyor belt out from here. Hook this guy up to some power. Then off it goes. This guy is going to be making us fuel. Packaged fuel. Alright, and if I can actually, you know, set this to go in the right friggin' direction. Like that. There we go. Perfect. Now we have fuel. Fuel for the jetpack. Fuel for anything that we want, really. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send the rest back towards the base. Well, except for the fuel. We're not going to send the fuel back to base. What we're actually going to do is we're going to use those smart splitters that we crafted a while back. As soon as I make a quick AI limiter. There we go. And here's what we're going to do. We need to keep having the fuel being burned. It has to go. So, we're going to make this into an infinite loop. The plastic will still be creating canisters to go into the packager. Packager is going to keep packaging the fuel. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw an awesome sink down. Configure this smart splitter to have the overflow of any extra canisters that are made once this container fills up flow down into the awesome sink. And then feed it there. And then that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That is everything in return of oil. At least for right now. Because there's still a lot more that we can do with oil processing. And it's just, at the moment, we just need rubber and plastic. That's all it is. And as you can see, we're getting a lot of it. Now, of course, our plastic, we're losing out on some of the plastic. We're only making 60 plastic per minute. And then the rubber, I believe we're making 80. Yeah. 80 rubber, but 60 plastic, which is fine. At least for right now. And besides, if we need more, that also will not be a problem because we have another 120 oil ready to go whenever I'm ready to use it. So we're going to put a pin in that, and we're just going to let it sit here for a little while. In the meantime, give me fuel. So now I can change the preferred fuel type. And we now can use regular packaged fuel. So I'm not relying on biofuel anymore. Then that's it. I am going to go ahead and take all of these materials and start slowly bringing them back to the base. Then I'll also go ahead and start storing them there, because we're going to need them. So this is going to take me a minute. Bear with me, and I'm going to go ahead and hard cut this. Alright, I am currently waiting for some more reinforced iron plates to be made over there. Because, yeah, we're going to need a bunch of them in order to complete the belt highway that I have that's bringing in, right now, all the rubber that we have, because, yeah. But the plastic, I need to finish getting that over there. I'm like halfway, but whatever, it's fine. In the meantime, let's go see what else we can get. Logistics Mark IV is going to unlock the conveyor belt, the conveyor lift Mark IV, and the trucks. The big boys. Just going to throw all that stuff in there. Yippee!
Milestone reached. The transportation of resources can reach new heights of efficiency. With the Mark IV belts and lifts, the truck, but even more importantly, your effort. Handling a large and complicated vehicle like the truck should come easy to a well-trained pioneer such as you. They are an obvious improvement over tractors concerning industrial purposes. Improvements for personal use were not measured. Tractors can use any type of fuel and have a self-driving feature, much like Pioneers, only more reliable. While driving, you can record a path to automate vehicle resource transportation. Unlike early self-driving vehicles, tractors will not spy on you. Your employee data is already fully subject to other means of surveillance.
Oh, that's great to hear. But yeah, truck, tractor, big boy, little boy. They're so cute. But oh yeah, they weren't kidding. These things are freaking beefy. But they carry a lot. Alright. We are eventually going to be using trucks and tractors, but not right now. Tier 6 awaits us. And most importantly, a lot of other things that need to be constructed now. So, the biggest things that we are going to need. Well, we could get monorail technology up and running using trains, but there's no real actual, like, necessary reason to use trains right now. It just doesn't make sense to use them. But we are going to be using trains a lot in the future. This is what we're after. Industrial manufacturing. So, we got to set this up. This is going to unlock 4 brand new parts that we can make. Computers, heavy modular frames, the modular engines, and the ACUs. But we need the manufacturers to do so. Where, similar to the assembler, where it can use 2 parts, this can use 3 or 4 parts to make a brand new part, like computers or heavy modular frames. or the 2 space elevator parts that we need. But I gotta wait a couple minutes before the pod comes back, and we can start working on that. But trust me when I say, we're gonna be dipping into a lot of resources. Most of which are going to be coming directly from our storage supply here, so yeah, you bet I'm gonna have to expand this just a tad bit here. And include all of the new parts that we have, because they're going to require them. Which means I gotta go grab the rest of the plastic. So I shall return. While we're waiting for the reinforced iron plates, why don't we go ahead and actually unlock the industrial manufacturing? Because I want to take a look at the recipes to figure out like what we need exactly. All right, here we go.
Milestone reached. Manufacturers can receive up to 4 inputs for the production of complex parts, such as computers and heavy modular frames, but most importantly the 2 new project parts. The modular engine and adaptive control unit are essential for the development of Phase 3 of Project Assembly. You are making good progress. The future is starting to look bright.
Okay, the big boys. Manufacturers. Let's see. So, we're actually pretty close already, believe it or not. So, we need the modular engines, which are motors, rubber, ooh, and smart plating again. We're back to the smart plating. Okay. Interesting, but the ACUs are what's going to be the biggest pain in the ass, because we need automated wiring, circuit boards, heavy modular frames, and computers for one of them. What? What do you mean? Okay, so that's a big problem. That is a very, very big problem. Because we do not have enough material being made here to make any of that shit. Which means we have to expand again. All of this has to be taken down and refitted to be able to make all of this stuff again. Oh boy. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I kind of want to update this stuff anyway, because all of these are Mark 1 miners, and we have access to Mark 2 miners now. So, yeah. Great. I'm probably going to go ahead and do this on a live stream, maybe, and build all of this stuff up. So, yeah. I'll probably have that video link in the playlist like immediately after this episode. But, you know, we'll see how it is. I'm thinking of doing like a pyramid style build, just so I have everything like generally organized and stuff. So what I'm thinking of doing is having the bottom floor be, you know, smelting and all that, sending them up a floor to where we're going to have all of the constructors and everything making all of the basic parts, so our plates, our screws, our rods, and everything. Then the next and third layer is where we'll have all of like the manufactured parts. So computers, heavy modular frames, all of those. Then on a fourth floor is where we will have the two manufacturers that are going to be producing the actual space elevator parts. However, with this next build, I think I'm also going to incorporate the quartz that we have over that way and our caterium that we have right over there. Because we're going to need it. If I'm not mistaken, one of the parts that we need, yeah, we need circuit boards. Oh, those are just plastic and copper? I'm silly. All right, well, maybe not quartz, but I want to get quartz at least automated to where, you know, I'll be able to have it in abundance and available to me whenever I need it. The same thing with the caterium. Because in the quartz tree, we still have a lot to discover. Inventory slots, crystal oscillators. These are also something we should probably automate. Priority mergers, explorer, and all of these other things that I want to get into, because these three are also going to be super important to our progression. And we're going to need them later on. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this all on a live stream, because this is going to take me a while. So, take a good look at what you see now, because the next time you see it, it's going to be big. Alright, I'm in the middle of a live stream right now. We're currently redoing the factory, but I noticed that there was a lot of resources that I want to bring over to the factory to use, but I don't want to sit here and constantly make belt highways where I click, drag, place, you know, set up the supports, click and drag, and click and drag. This sucks. I hate doing this. So we're going to be utilizing the blueprint machine. Yippee! So blueprints, if you guys remember when we first unlocked this thing, basically allow you to create something and then copy paste it. It's very, very helpful in a lot of situations. Let me just show you guys an example. I want to build a belt highway. So that way I don't have to worry about, you know, making a bunch of belts and, you know, having it be extremely tedious. So what we're going to do is we're going to build the shell of a belt highway. Just like that. We're going to take, let's just say our Mark 4. Do I want to do Mark 4 belts? No, I want to do Mark 3. Just for right now. The Mark 3 belts are the ones that we're able to obtain the fastest. So that's what we're going to do. And to make things a little bit more simple, we're only going to make it a 2x2. So I got to delete this one row here. So get rid of that, get rid of that. Then throw this up. We're going to get rid of that. And of course, get rid of that. So there we go. That is just a 2x2 row of belts. Come into the terminal. you rename this, say 2x2 belt highway. Set it to the directory. Do that. Confirm. Yep, undefined. Select icon. MK. Let's do it. Mark III belt. And then we're going to set this to all black. Then save blueprint. It shows you the material cost, and you can easily just clear the blueprint designer just like that. Everything will go here in the storage box for you to take back, and that's it. Now, the primary reason why I want to use these blueprints is we select our blueprint and, you know, we plonk it down. There's a feature that was introduced with Satisfactory 1.1 where it is an auto connect feature. So I can go ahead and make sure that all 4 of those belts line up just like that. And then it auto connects the belts. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? You guys have no idea how easy this makes belt highways. And this also works with pipes. It's so helpful. So helpful. It's one of the best ideas that Coffee Stain has added to the game. And that's the reason why I wanted to get the blueprint designer. Because we're going to be making a lot of those. A lot of those, I have a feeling. Because we got to bring belts all the way out here to come get, you know, the 2 coal nodes. This iron node here. I just barely made it past that rock. Thank you. We also have a copper node, a limestone node, and of course our quartz nodes that are on the other side of that rock right there. We gotta go get all of it. So I'm gonna go grab some more concrete and then continue with our build. So the plant is starting to come together real well. We pretty much have everything wired from this side over. But before we continue, I wanted to show you guys kind of how I set up my power grids. Because I mentioned before, like, I have the worldwide power grid, right? That goes to pretty much everywhere that I'm going to hook up with all of these power towers. But for individual buildings and factories and everything, I have it set up differently. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a little wall. Then we actually have to pay a little visit to the awesome shop. Well, first I have to find an awesome sink. Which I'm pretty sure we destroyed all of them. Crap. No matter, I can just make another one. Quickly hook it up to power and collect our coupons. Alright. Let's go in here. Let's make another awesome store. We have 14 coupons. So, Mark II outlets, we need those. Let's see, what else? Walls, no. Architecture, yes. I need my concrete pillars. And my catwalks, please. I have 3 extra. Is there anything that I can buy for 3 tickets besides the quarter pipe expansions? Double ramps? Anything at all? Alright, you know what? In that case, we'll save the tickets, because I'm not buying that right now. Alright. So, we have our little pillars here. We are going to place those there. One there, 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 and that'll be good enough. I'm gonna take our power switches and hook them up individually here. So the plan is to take the power switch from right there, hook it up to our own little system here. Do that. So then we have main power. Then what we can do is take a power tower and hook that bad boy up right there. Take the power from it, hook it up. Then send this off into the appropriate direction that I wanted these to go. So we're going to fix that problem right now, as a matter of fact. Ooh, not a fan how close that is. Whatever. Perfect. All right then. So now we have power again. Well, power enough to where I can actually start hooking up machines again, basically. So the preface of all this is to have the power flowing through this, and you can see we have some of it going. And then as it gets hooked up, I would take the power nubs from back here, hook them up, just like so. And then these little power nubs, sorry about that. I didn't realize that the music was going to do that. And I was going to take these power nubs and have them go out to, like, certain sets of machines. It just keeps it organized, and just in case if I ever have to, like, shut down specific parts of the factory for whatever reason, all I gotta do is just come over here, flick the switch, and then off it goes. It's gone. But that's pretty much it. Now I get to go hook up that system and then built everything. Yay. We got some more tickets, so shall we do some more shopping? Perhaps. Customizer. Some coated floors. Sure, that's 6. Architecture. The elevator. Yes, please. 16, 17, 27. 29. 35. And... how about we save the rest?
Due to Pioneer request and several reported issues with staircases, there is now a more efficient solution. The Fix-It personnel elevator ensures optimal safety by putting a Pioneer in a box controlled by a rudimentary AI, specialized in soothing a straining mind. Exposure to a Fix-It personnel elevator is recommended to be a minimum of 2 minutes per day for optimal gain.
All right. And now we have an elevator, which we're gonna play around with for a second here. Personnel elevator. Let's grab silica. And then we're gonna go up, up, and up. Elevator floor stop right there. Oh, and you have to supply it with power. Of course, of course, of course, of course. Perfect. Whee! It's super unnecessary. But it's a fun little thing. Okay. Anyway. You got a few more things to put away. Let's go with the motors. The rotors. Alright, now the big question. How many encased industrial beams did we collect? Not a lot. Fuck. Yeah, that's not a whole lot. Ah, balls. Oh well. Oh well, we're just gonna be doing a lot of waiting. A lot of waiting. Honestly, I'm okay with it because there's just so much stuff that I have to do besides this. Bitch. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care at all. 4, 4, 4, 2. Right? Yeah. Yep, 4, 4, 4, 2. This one is also 4. 642. That one is 4. Let's see here. That's 2. This is 1. course, these are going to change because of all the additions that need to be made. Like this 60 right here for the copper. Or we could just not do it. Okay, so after a couple of live streams, and yes, I do mean a couple of them, we managed to finally gather quite a lot of resources, actually. We got, like, what is this, 960 iron incoming, some coal, sulfur, and I actually ran out of materials to set up the belts, so I had to build this little temporary system to make me some reinforced iron plates, in case industrial beams, and of course our steel beams here. But these are all just pulling off of even more resources that we took from the left side over here that we're going to, of course, rip down and add to the big factory. But this video has gone on a little bit too long, and I gotta, of course, delete all of this, get our processing plan going here. But most importantly, while we were waiting for those materials to be made, we went on a little hard drive hunt. We were just scouring around the map, and as you can see, we went around the entirety of the outside of the playable area, building our little power network. I kind of ran out of materials halfway, though. We made it all the way down to about right here in the green fields. So we got to go all the way around here through the swamp and then connect back up over here where our power lines already reside. But we did go all the way around. So that's another thing that we're going to have to do. And then, of course, we got to do like cross connections to get into the center area here. But that's a future problem. We did gather a crap ton of hard drives, though. Look at all of these recipes that we are able to get. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, starting next episode, we're going to be going through those recipes, and we're going to be picking out a couple good ones that are going to help us with our production line here. A lot of them that we're going to be using for future projects. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys stick around, because not only in the hard drives are we going to go over, we're also going to investigate this classified phenomena to deal with all of our little sluggo boys here, because we have a lot of little sluggos. Yes. Research and production. That's the key for next episode. So I hope you guys stick around. Make sure to leave a like. And of course, subscribe if you guys want to see some more content. Make sure to follow me on all my other socials on Twitch and X and Blue Sky if you're on there. I don't really post that often on Blue Sky, but it's there. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.